Welcome to Mountain Man Explore the Truth. How's everybody doing today or tonight? Depending on time you listen to the podcast. I hope you are doing well, my friends. It's been a long time, I know. Lots of breaks in between, dealing with life and moving, and now here I am in my new studio, guys. You'll notice it's different. It's in the back corner of the room, I'm going to call it a studio. I got it all blocked off. I got a decoration in the background, so it's a whole different scenery for you guys. I'm sure you remember seeing the truck. My old studio. Anyways, guys, I'm happy to be back. I lost a lot of followers and I need to gain them back. What I can, a huge favor you can do for me is make sure you subscribe on YouTube and make sure you follow on Spotify, Spreaker, and other platforms you listen to it on. But if you're a YouTuber and you just like watching it on YouTube, be sure to hit subscribe and share the show, and please give me a thumbs up. Really helps bring the show up on the charts so other great guests will come on the show for you guys. So I got a great guest coming on tonight, guys, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome, and I got another great guest coming on in another day or so, and that's going to be awesome too. So I'll have an episode here and there dropping every week, guys, and here now and then you might not see one drop because I got to build it up. So if you want to keep hearing from Mountain Man Explore Truth, please send people my way. It could be researchers, people who experience all these strange, weird things in the world. They are welcome to the show. So on that note, guys, why I've been gone. I figured I'd bring it in here since the first episode dropped in a while. I've been gone dealing with life. I dealt with depression. I dealt with trying to get my family into a house, and here we are. We're in a house, and here I am, moved down to southeast Texas, moved from Oregon. Do I miss my, my state, Oregon? A little bit. I do miss the scenery of the woods and the dense forest there. But would I ever go back? Nah, I had to be pretty rich to go back there, guys. It's too expensive now. That's the reason why I moved out of there. It was too hard for me and my family to even, get by there. So I was dealing with a bunch of other stuff while I was gone, guys. So I don't want to ramble too much on that. I give a little bits here and there on the live shows. If you're interested in knowing more, you can message me. I'll tell you a little bit. But other than that, I'm back, guys. Mountain Man Explore Truth is back, and I'm looking forward to getting into the truth and sharing people's experience. And I am looking forward to bringing these great guests on the show. I'd like to give a shout out to Ry Voss, Codega Codex of Curiosity. He's sent some people my way to come on the show, and one of them is Bryce Edwards. And, I've heard of his experience on, his show and other platform shows. The Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones show, right? I thought it sounded familiar. I heard him on there. And even Patty, Pat, that's going to come on my show. I've heard her experience in the best Dogman footage that she has. I can't wait to share that with you guys. So that's going to be on a whole nother show. But tonight is going to be on Bryce Edwards, so we'll focus on that. So you might have heard of his experience and his family experience on the farm they had for many, many years, guys. He'll go into details on that. He's got a documentary coming out too. It's called The Pond Creek Monsters. Be sure to check it out. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I tell you what, I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to hear his experience on the show. So I really am honored to have him on. He's going to come on and share some of his sightings. He's had 2 sightings in his family's farm and heard vocalizations, and he's seen orbs and he heard, things sound like they're running through the woods and branches breaking. And he's heard of it. I think he said he's heard it within 10 minutes too. So that's interesting. I'll be sure to let him go into that on the show. And he's found several footprints, and his father also had experience on the farm too. And I'm gonna let him go in more details on that. But his grandma also had seen something back in 1963, and I can't wait to hear about that too. I find that very interesting. And he's pretty much had all kinds of strange things going on there. So I can't wait to hear what he's got. It sounds like quite the history of stuff going on. Does he have a Bigfoot family hanging around there, or is it just a regular that's been living there forever? Or, is it just a family that, generation goes on and the next one comes in? I find that very interesting and fascinating because I believe that's true. So I can't wait to bring him on and let him share details on his documentary and much more. So I really appreciate you coming on, Bryce. So we'll be bringing him on shortly, guys. But with that said, I like to plug in a couple more things too. So I'm back, and I'm going to go a little different with the show as well. So if you're listening to this on audio, be sure to go check it out on YouTube. I'm going to do a lot more live shows, and those are going to be mainly for YouTube. Every now and then I'll do an audio version of the live show for, to bring on Spotify and other speaker shows and, platforms for people to listen to. But if you really like to come on and check out some reaction videos, you can come on and you can tell me to look into this and that, and I'll share it with you guys, and we can go over it and see if we think it's legit or not legit. Because we got a problem with AI, we got a problem with all kinds of other stuff too that we got to debunk. I also want to give shout out to a lot of good researchers out there too. I want to bring more of them on the show as well, so I can hear what they got going on. And I'm just excited to be back, guys. I'm gonna keep it short because it's gonna be the show first episode dropped since Mountain Man's been gone for a while, so it's gonna be back, and this is the first episode, and it's gonna be a really interesting one, and we'll see where it takes us. So stay tuned, guys. And like I said, if you like to come on the show, email me at mountainmanett@gmail.com. Again, mountainmanett@gmail.com. And be sure to go check out Bryce Edwards documentaries too. So, tongue tie. See, guys, I got to get that radio voice back. So hopefully the audio will sound great for you guys as well. So thank you guys for being patient. We'll be bringing them on shortly. Stay tuned, guys. All right, today we welcome on Bryce Edwards. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Blake. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm just glad we finally can get it down, huh?
Yeah. Life's been hectic.
Oh, you get busy, I get busy. It's just how it goes, man. Mm-hmm. It works out in the end, though.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
That's right. We're going to have a good show tonight.
Oh, heck yeah. Go ahead and tell people about yourself, and I'm pretty sure a good majority of people already know who you are, so.
Yeah, it seems that way. Okay, well, for those who don't know me, I'm Bryce Edwards. I live in Southern Illinois, and I'm just your average blue-collar factory working guy. I've got 4 great kids and a wife, and got a family clan of Bigfoot out of my family farm. And they've been out there at least 60 years. And the reason I say that's because of a story that my grandmother told me whenever I was a kid about whenever my dad was 5 years old and my uncle was like 1. So yeah, if you want, I can go ahead and get right into that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Let's go ahead and get right into it, man.
Okay, cool. Well, her and my grandpa have both since passed, but they're both a part of my story and everything here. So whenever I was a kid, probably 10 years old, I remember my grandma telling me a story about the time that she saw what she called a honey bear. And what she said was that, they were sitting out in the front yard out on the farm. And our farm, like now especially, there's really nobody out there except for like family. Used to, you had a couple other families and small 642 acre farm. And it's been in the family since. But yeah, grandma was sitting out there, and it was a nice summer day, and my dad was playing in the front yard, and she was just, holding my uncle. And she said that across the road, you got a field, and then you've got some woods behind the field. And what came out of those woods, she called a honey bear. And she said it came out on all 4s, but then it stood up. And when it stood up and saw them, it started walking towards them, but it walked like a man. Bears don't walk like that. And at the time, though, being 10, and I didn't really know about Bigfoot when I was 10. So I just thought grandma was telling me a story about a bear she saw. But she grabbed my dad and my uncle, ran inside the house, locked the doors, but then on top of that, hid in the closet until my grandpa got home from work that night. I mean, even as a kid, I thought it was weird that she hid in the closet with them, and because grandma was one of those tough as nails old country ladies, nothing really scared her. And so it wasn't until just a couple years ago, I was listening to another Bigfoot podcast, and there's a gentleman on there from Oklahoma, and he was talking about his encounters and stuff, and he kept calling them honey bears. And I was like, light bulb went off, and I was like, oh, grandma saw Bigfoot. Okay. And at this point in time, I had found tracks, but I hadn't had my first sighting yet. So I was like, okay, that makes sense now why she hid in the closet and all that afterwards. Because, I mean, yeah, you got 2 little kids, and, not to be sexist or nothing, but you're a female, you don't know what that thing is coming towards you. You knew enough about it to call it a honey bear, though. So, there had to have been some more stories that I don't know. But Yeah, I mean, I always thought that was kind of interesting. And then, like I said, I heard that podcast and that guy using that term, and I'm like, oh crap, okay. And
So you
I've heard
put
it
it
used a
together
few
on
other
that,
times
huh?
since then. Yeah, yeah, big time. So
Hey,
then,
hey, Bryce, real
and
quick, I just wanted to
oh
make sure you.
yeah,
I'm not sure if it's your side crackling a little bit. It sounds like it's crackling a little bit on your end. I don't know if it's your phone or
might
what.
be. I don't know if it's my headset or what.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's nothing on my side. If it's your side, no biggie. Might be able to clean it up when I
Okay.
edit it. So
Yeah, that sometimes that happens. I try to make sure I got my keys out of the ignition and all that kind of stuff. So I just sit in my car whenever I do
yeah,
podcasts. I just call
yeah.
it Studio Saturn.
As
That
long
way,
as they can hear
nobody.
you, that's okay. You know the crackles. That's no biggie. I can try to clean it up a little bit. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I apologize.
no worries.
Um, okay, cool. But yeah, so now we're gonna go to 2015. And in 2015, my dad was over at my cousin's house because, like I said, we all lived out on the farm. I don't live out there anymore. My dad still does, and my cousin does. Um, but the cousin that he went to, his name was Jerry. He's passed away since. But it was 2015, probably, if I remember him telling me correctly, it was late August. And it was about dusk, about like it is right now, actually. And they were just over there at Jerry's house on his deck and just talking, you know. And across the road in the field over there, there was a pack of coyotes that started going off and everything. I mean, birds are chirping, you know, you got grasshoppers and frogs making noise, all that stuff. And Dad said, just out of nowhere, he just heard this big, just like reverberated in your chest roar, and it was unlike anything that him or Jerry had ever heard before. And I mean, these are two guys that do not scare easy, and they were both like, "What the heck was that?" You know. And I asked my dad because he called me. He called me and told me about it, and I was just like, "Well, what do you think it was? Like a cougar or something?" Because I mean, occasionally we'll get cougar in the area, and he goes, "No." He goes, honestly, he goes, "This is going to sound funny." He goes, "But I think it sounded like a Bigfoot." But at the time, 2015, I mean, yeah, I was into Bigfoot then, but I was not thinking we had Bigfoot here in Southern Illinois. I thought it was just like in the Pacific Northwest and like Canada and stuff. Um, it was pretty wild to hear him tell me that. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, now granted, back in the 70s, in Murfreesboro, Illinois, which isn't too far away, um, they had the Big Muddy Monster sightings, is what they called it. And that was a Bigfoot that went through Murfreesboro for a couple weeks. And a lot of people saw it. Supposedly, it came up to a car where there was two married couples, but they weren't, or well, two people who were married, just not to each other, um, hanging out, and scared them enough to where they went to the police station and put in the report together.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So, I'm like, well, okay, whatever, maybe dad did hear something like that. I don't know. It wasn't until, geez, 2020, 2020, I started really paying attention to like podcasts and stuff. Cause I mean, we were on lockdown. Like, what else are you going to do? Watch YouTube.
About the
And
time I started listening to podcast shows is right when stuff happened and you were like,
yeah,
I'm done listening to music so much. I want to hear some podcast shows, and you look up Bigfoot
exactly.
stuff and all that,
Exactly.
and you're like, wow, there's a lot of people
Yeah.
into it just like I am. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
yeah.
And, there was these guys that are in their research areas, the Shawnee National Forest, and that's not far away at all from the farm, like maybe 20 miles as the crow flies. And they were getting all kinds of evidence. I mean, video, audio, finding tracks, finding structures, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, because I kind of was thinking about Dad's deal, and I'm like, okay, well, still, I don't know. I'd have to see it to believe it, kind of thing, or hear it. And so on Mother's Day, which month of May, like we're getting ready to have Mother's Day on Saturday, Sunday, whatever
Mm-hmm.
day it is, and we went out there in 2023. Amber, my wife, she wanted to go out and just kind of forage around. She's into that. And I was like, all right. So me, her, and the kids, we went there, and I asked Dad. I was like, hey, I know morels are probably gone by now, but if there were any, where would we find them? And he told me to go behind Jerry's place. And he was like, yeah, you know that stretch of woods behind Jerry's by the field? I'm like, yeah. He's like, look over there by the fallen trees. He's like, if there is any still, that's your best bet. It's like, all right, cool. So we went over there, and like you pull up to Jerry's. By this time, Jerry had passed away. He died in 2018. But you pull up to his house and you walk through his yard, and then you get to like a big overgrown patch of weeds and whatnot. And like you've got a pond to the right, and then behind those overgrown patch of weeds, you've got this big like 40 or 50 acre field. And there's on the right, like this is if you're facing the field, you've got that stretch of woods that Dad was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we're sitting there, we're going through there, and my kids are a little bit ahead of us because they were excited. And I did notice at first what I thought was just like a deer bedding area. And, because I mean, it looked like it, just pressed down amongst all the tall weeds. But it was pretty big. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not a hunter. So, I mean, I don't know if deer like bundle up and, bed down like that, or if it's usually just like one of them or what. But, and this is important because what I'm thinking after what we found in the field, besides the tracks that we found, which I'll get to that in a second, I think that was actually like an ambush spot where it was crouched down waiting. And the reason I say that, so my oldest son, he was at the time, he gets to the field and he goes, hey, Dad, I think somebody's been out here. There's some footprints out here because the field, it had just been disked like maybe a week and a half before we got there. So, the ground was still pretty soft and whatnot. And we got up there. I saw him from the distance. I saw these prints he was talking about. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it was Dad, or maybe somebody's been out there that isn't supposed to be out there, which we're super protective over our land. So
Mm-hmm.
just word of the wise, people who want to come out and see it, not unless you got an invite.
Exactly. That's how it should
uh,
be. Be invited. Don't be
yeah,
coming in
yeah,
intruding.
yeah, yeah, because we're 911 out there, and we
I
got
like that.
plenty. So
That's how I am too. I'm out in a rural area here, and I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I'm
yeah,
my own law.
yeah, exactly. Gotta be, man.
Yep.
Um, but we get out there, and I see these prints, and I wear a size 13. These were way bigger than my foot. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to run back to my car because I got a tape measure in my car. So I ran back to my car, grabbed my tape measure because I'm like, as I'm seeing this, like I said, like Dad's story about hearing the roar in 2015 goes through my head. And I'm like, it was, you know, a direct line, the opposite direction of where we're going from where we're at right now, where he heard that roar come from. I'm like, okay, Dad was onto something. So I measured them. They were 18 inches long by 5.5 inches wide.
Wow.
And yeah, and I got a picture of my foot next to the best looking print. And it looked like I don't know if it was from the field or maybe if it had been over at the pond because like there was like grass and like moss, like where it stomped down into the
Mm-hmm.
dirt, of the disc field. Because I mean, the field was disc, so it wasn't like there was grass and moss there.
Yeah.
Um, and and they were heading the same direction we were, going towards those woods. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, they didn't look. They looked about maybe 3 days old, not like made that day. Um, and I was like, and I mean, it was probably they're probably about that deep. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, let's just go on, see what we can find, guys. And we go a little bit further into the field and I come across a deer skeleton. And this is where I was talking about with that, where I think it's an ambush spot, because this deer skeleton was not like a coyote kill or anything like that. Coyote kills, like I grew up on the farm. I've seen plenty of, coyote kills of deer and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There's bones everywhere whenever that happens. This was literally something grabbed this deer, I'm assuming broke its neck and then ripped it in half because you had
Wow.
a broken back, like a broken spine of it in the back half here. And then about 20 feet up was the other half. And like completely picked clean, fur and all, except for on the front legs, from like, say, like the knee joint down to the hoof, there was still fur there. Other than that, picked completely clean.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and it was a doe, if I remember correctly. I don't remember seeing any antlers. but it was just so weird because it was like literally just like it got it and just you know
Yeah. You
it
know.
that was yeah, that was weird. And I mean, I'm sitting there looking at this and I'm like, okay, hmm. And the boys were like, whoa, cool, and all that
Yeah, of
stuff,
course. We're
and
like,
I'm
look
like,
at that thing.
yeah, stay close,
Yeah,
you know.
I've seen something similar like that too up in Oregon where I'm
Oh,
from,
cool.
and it was
Yeah.
down in a canyon, and it's actually on this YouTube channel. If you go and you'll find a video of me showing like a carcass, and I go, it's pretty weird because if it was coyote, you would think it'd be all in pieces, like you said. And the night
Yeah.
before, my wife was hearing strange howl sounds, what Bigfoots would make, because I showed her some samples. I go,
Hmm.
did you hear this? And she's like, that's exactly what I heard, something like that. It sounded like a few of them going
Oh,
off,
wow.
and it wasn't too far down the canyon, and that's what I'll miss about Oregon
Hmm.
because I was investigating some hot spots up there where I'm from, and now I'm down here in
Yeah.
southeast Texas. I'm learning about the area and I'm trying to explore other areas, but I'm still pretty fresh here, so I'm still trying to get the feel of where to
Yeah.
go, and I'm right
I've
backed
heard
up to
some
the reserves
stories from
though.
down
So,
there.
well, I'm right by the
Yeah.
big thicket reserve, the little reserve over here, so it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there you go. There's a lot of dogman sightings over there
Yeah, that's
too,
what I
so be
heard.
careful when you're out.
That's what I heard. I'm a little
Yeah.
freaked out about that. And I heard a lot of what do you call those? I think they call them the skin crawlers. Reports on those
Oh
too.
yeah.
I was like, oh man, I
Hmm.
don't know if I want to mess with those. I go, I'm more interested in seeing
Yeah.
a Bigfoot, but if I see a skin crawler
Hmm.
creature, I don't know what to think of that. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. There's some weirdness going out on the farm. Like Bigfoot's not the only thing out there.
yeah. There's a lot
And
of things going on, man. Especially when we get
yeah.
into this Bigfoot stuff. There's more stuff opening up, and you're like, okay, there's more than Bigfoot.
Hmm.
There's something going on here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That farm, man, like thinking back, like whenever I was a kid and stuff, like I remember I used to, because like dad wouldn't let me walk down the road to go over to grandma and grandpa's. They just, you just cut the field and go over there if I wanted to go to grandma and grandpa's or go fishing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what I always did. And as a kid, I remember hearing like what I assumed was like some farmers like working on a fence or something or building a barn, because you heard a lot of like what sounded like a hammer on wood, except that there's no new barns in the last 50 years out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, could there have been fence being mended? Sure, but it would have been grandpa, and hardly ever did grandpa have to mend his fence.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
it
kind
sounded
of
like you had
wonder,
a pretty active area there through time, man. It sounds
yeah,
like definitely got
yeah,
something going on, man. It's crazy.
hmm and yeah, it's pretty wild. And so when we got into getting back to the 2023, the
Yeah, let's.
footprints, yeah, I guess I go off on tangents. I
I do
apologize.
too. I
Um,
apologize for that too, because I'll sidetrack for a minute.
oh,
Oh,
you're
let's go
good,
right
man. You're
back
good,
into that.
right? It's like squirrel.
Yep.
But not so like so we go, we're like, okay, there's the deer thing. Okay, well, let's move on. And once we got to the tree line to go in, like I did notice the opening was kind of like wide, you know what I mean? Um, and at the base of this tree, there was what could be a small tree structure, but it was just like some small branches or twigs or whatever. They were only about knee high, and they weren't big around. Maybe that was big around as my pinky, but they were like teepeed, leaned up against this tree, and it didn't look like they had just fell out of the tree and landed that way, or like blew up from like a storm or something and landed that way. They looked like they were placed there with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Couple people I've talked to about that, they thought, well, maybe it was like a marker for like, hey, there's food over here, or this is my territory. But I would assume there would have been, if it was a territory thing, they would have had like a bigger, like one of those X's or something going on. Um, but we went in there and it was really quiet in there, and I didn't realize it was really quiet there until we got back over by the car, and then like you started hearing like birds and all that stuff again. It was kind of creepy in there, just because like I know what those prints were and everything. The kids are just being kids, and
Oh yeah.
Amber, she realized what it was too, but she was on a mission to forage. So, and I'm just sitting here, just kind of like head on a swivel, looking around and everything. So, we get back to the car after that, and I mean, I told Dad about it, and he was like, like I said, he goes, well, right over there, just on the other side of the road, though, was where I heard that roar come from. And I was like, yeah, I know. And So, so that was it for 2023 because like it was like, okay, cool. Like I took pictures of it. I showed it to my buddies, Truth and Bass. They got a show on YouTube. They had me come on and talk about it. And which really I got to give them props because they were the ones who got me to really come out and tell my story after I had my sightings and whatnot.
That's what it
They're like,
takes,
dude, like,
you know.
yeah, they're like, you got to do it, man, because like, they got a show, and I mean, I've been on it a bunch, just chit chatting with them about whatever
Well,
they were
please,
talking
please,
about.
give them a good shout out on here. Go ahead and say their
Oh,
name, and
okay. Well,
people can check it out.
okay. Yeah. Okay. So their names are Truth and Bass, and they have a show on YouTube called An Impromptu Truth. And they're some really good friends of mine. They're brothers from another mother.
Right on, man.
And yeah, and I mean, like all this, like the documentary I've made, all that stuff wouldn't have happened without their encouragement. Honestly, like they're the ones who pushed me to come forward with it because I didn't want to get. I was worried about getting like people like being like, oh, he's nuts or he doesn't know what
Yeah,
he's
get
talking about, things
ridicule and
like
all
that.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand. That's how I
and
was with my podcast. When before I started doing my show, I was like, I don't know, I'm a little worried about what people are gonna think of me. You know, even my own family.
yeah,
But they're like, no,
yeah,
do what you love and what you believe. And I'm like, yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Screw
And that's
everything
that's what my
else.
dad said
So,
too. And then dad's had a lot of encounters himself. He's never seen Bigfoot. He saw something else.
hmm
I'll get into that in a little while.
we'll love to hear
But
it.
yeah, yeah. I wish it would have been anything besides what he saw.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some things you
but
see you cannot unseen. You know, I've seen some things myself
mhm,
I couldn't explain. So
yeah,
totally understand.
and yeah. So okay, so 2023. My grandma passed away probably around about a month or so after that happened. So then, grandpa, she had dementia, and then grandpa had dementia, like right after grandma died.
Yeah,
Then
sorry to
grandpa
hear
gets
that.
dementia. Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, it's a terrible disease.
It is. It
Um,
runs on my family
and
side too, and I worry about getting that. Sometimes I'm like, man,
yeah,
am I gonna follow my
yeah,
grandpa's footsteps? Because he had it pretty bad. So, but
yeah. My grandpa, he had it all the way to the end. It literally got as far. He fought it all the way until his brain quit giving his body signals to function, basically.
yeah, the brain's crazy, man.
So yeah, tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, my dad, he was out on the farm because, like I said, he lives out there. Grandpa lives in town. I live in town, and I'm about 6, 7 blocks away from where his house was. And so, Dad calls me and he says, "Hey, I need you to go get Grandpa and bring him out here to the farm for me." I was like, "All right, cool." So, me and my youngest, who was 3 at the time, we went over there, got Grandpa, and took him out to the farm. And this is when I have my sighting, my first one. So, you take a main road to get out of town and head out to where the farm is, but then eventually you've got to take several back roads to get to the farm. And the road that Dad lives on, you'll head straight east down it, and you'll cross this bridge, little old country bridge. Well, that's where the creek is, like, and it's called Pond Creek. So you cross that, and then you've got like the wood line following the creek, and then you've got field to the right, field to the left. So as we're coming in and we're getting past the trees and all that, I catch movement out of the corner of my eye to the right. So it would have been the south field. And I look over and I see this big black being knelt down digging into the bottom part of the hill, because like right there in the field, about maybe half third of the way from the wood line going into the field, it starts to become a hill. And it was like thrashing the dirt back, like it was either after something. I don't know if it was like digging for, like, if it saw like some kind of like a burrowing animal or a snake or what, but it seemed like it was after something. And I mean, I'm going like maybe 30 miles an hour, and it was like the sighting was only like, say, like 4 or 5 seconds, but like as I'm seeing it, it almost felt like everything like went into like super slow-mo. And because like when that arm went back, like it went back and it threw the dirt, like you take our arm and add like another half an arm at least, and that's how long this arm was. And it was solid black, short hair on it though, wasn't big and shaggy or nothing. um and looked like it had like either like a like a shine to it. Like I don't know if maybe it was wet or if perhaps maybe maybe just like how like a horse's coat will look when the sun hits it, you know, how it have
Mm-hmm.
like that shine on it.
Yeah.
Um, but what was weird about this was like when it heard the car, it stood up. I never got to see the face because, and that's what drives me nuts. Both times I've seen this thing, I've never seen the face. It had its back to me. Even whenever it was like digging, whenever it would turn to throw its arm back, it was like turning away from the road. And
Oh.
whenever it heard my car, it stood up and started walking like further into the field. Because like you go past that field, you got like a small little section of woods, another field, and then you've got what Dad calls 2 mile woods, because I guess it's like 2 miles before you run into anything. It's just woods. And so when it stood up, it did not have the build of Patty, which is what I always associated a Bigfoot, like a general Bigfoot build to be, is something like Patty. This was more of, okay, so it it looked a lot like the Bigfoot that was in this Sam Elliott movie called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if you've ever heard
Yeah,
of
I've
it or
seen that
seen it.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so you remember how the build on that was, where it was
Mm-hmm.
more leaner? It was like that. But like upper body was very muscular. You could tell that, like going from its head, like you could see like its trap muscles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like didn't look like it had much of a neck. And the head, it did have a little bit of a cone shape, but it was mostly round. Um, Solid black, like I said, it's like jet black. And yeah, I mean, it's like it was just walking further into the field. I'm like sitting there, like looking. I'm like, of course, I ain't gonna say nothing to Grandpa because I don't want to upset him. And my little man, he was in the back seat in his car seat, so he couldn't see. So I hurry up because Dad's house is only like a quarter mile up the road from that point. So I hurried up and got Grandpa in the house. Told Dad, "Hey, I'm gonna go back down. I need to get out of here because I just saw something big in the field down the road." He goes, "Okay," and I'm like, "No, Dad, big, like big black thing." And he's just like, "Oh, okay." And I'm just like, all right, I gotta go, you know, and hurry up and got back there. Of course, it was gone. I was like, shit. So I get home, tell my wife about it, and she was like, she could tell that I was not BSing. She was like, it was all over your face, like you saw something. And I go, look, this happened. I don't I don't know. I'm like, I think it was Bigfoot. I'm like, I don't know though, because I didn't see the face. I'm like, but I didn't see pointy ears or nothing, so I don't think it was that one, you know. And she was like, well, let's go back tomorrow. And I was like, okay, cool.
You're like, I'm
She's
down.
super supportive about all this.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And of course it rained that night, which aggravated me, but I mean it rains all the time in May here. And we went back that next day, and like she stayed in the car with the boys. I just pulled into the field, and then I went walking out. It was about 65 to 80 yards roughly out into the field, where I saw it at. And it took me a little while to find where it was at, but I did. And I could see where it was digging and all that stuff too. I mean, it had kind of collapsed down a little bit, the hole, just because of the rain and being at the bottom of the hill where it was digging at. So like the runoff just kind of collapsed it. But I could still get my hand in that hole. But I didn't, like, there wasn't like a dead animal in it or anything like that. So I still don't know what it was after. But I found a print, and I found, like I said, the hole where it was at, maybe a thumbprint too, because there was this one just kind of looked like a digit imprint into the ground, like right by where the hole was. I don't know, but I'm looking around and I'm looking at that, and my wife told me later that where I was standing at, because our fields have kind of got some like little like wavy hills in them now, besides that big hill I was telling you about, because the coal mine came through 20 years ago in Longwald. So
Mm-hmm.
some places in those fields have kind of settled and or subsided, I mean. And so, it was weird. But she told me that whenever I was standing over there, she's like, I could see you somewhat, but whenever I knelt down to take pictures and everything like that, she was like, she lost sight of me completely. When I saw this thing knelt down digging, I saw like mid thigh up. I'm 5'10". This thing had to have been over 7 feet tall, I'm assuming. just because of like, like mid thigh up to its head is what I was seeing. And that was with it knelt down. I knelt down to take pictures and she lost sight of me completely. So that was
Wow,
pretty wild.
that is wild.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like where it came from, and I'm thinking because of the shine that I saw on it, well, maybe it was wet, maybe it came from the creek. And I believe that is where it came from because like you could kind of tell just like with the way that the footprint that I found, where the way it was pointing and all that, it was like, well, if it was standing facing this way, the creek's back that way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, let's follow that little area back there. And I was trying to find like where like the creek bank is. I was trying to find like a big impression or something I could get a really good picture of because that footprint I got a picture of right there by the dig site, like I said, with that rain and everything, had a lot of like washout, but you could still make out the outline and everything, just not like a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm.
But I did measure it. It was 16 inches. I didn't do the width on it because just how the way it was kind of hard to figure out where the width was, but
Mm-hmm.
like toe to heel, 16 inches. So, like I said, that one I found the year before was 18. So we got two different ones. And whenever I went over by the creek, following like the line of the path it was going, I was like, okay, I don't see any prints over here, nothing that I could find anyways, but there was like a lot of like, vegetation and whatnot too right there. So I'm looking around and I see this tree branch break. And it wasn't like it was just like broken where like, a storm could have done it or something like that. This was broken down and then twisted around like two or three times. Now, to me, this branch was like 3 inches wide or around, I mean, because like it kind of looked like say like I used to work at Home Depot and like I think like a 3-inch PVC pipe is about as big around as that. Snapped down, spun around, and it was 10 feet up in the air.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that tells me something strong with a thumb and used intention to spin that around like that. So I was like, okay. So I'm looking at all this stuff. I go back to the car and I tell her what I found because I'd kind of sunk my foot a little bit over there by the creek. And I was like, time to go. I'm muddy. But yeah, so that was pretty wild. I contact my buddy Joe Terry because I know he's big into Bigfoot and he's made several documentary films about Bigfoot, and he has his YouTube channel. And I was like, I'm gonna tell him about it because if he wants to come check it out, he's got all the gadgets. Me, I ain't got nothing. I got my eyes and a flashlight.
It's pretty much all you need,
And
and
yeah,
get a
really. I
good a
mean,
good phone to catch them on camera if you can, and
yeah, yeah. And so it took until like June of 2025 for our schedules to line up and everything where he could come out. But he did. Him and his cameraman, they came out and he wanted to like shoot like an interview and investigative documentary for his YouTube channel. Just like a video. I mean, not a documentary. That came later. Um, but so we did that. And we found a couple prints out there, and one was 15 inches and then another one was 16 inches. And then he sent me today actually pictures of one that the cameraman found and took a picture of it just in case, but he wasn't so sure that it was a footprint. And it was because you could straight up see toe prints in it and everything like that. But
wow.
the cameraman's not a believer; he's a big skeptic, and he just thought maybe it was just like a washed out area. And it's like what? Like he showed me the picture. He sent me a text. He goes, "So remember telling you about Russ saying that he thought he saw something?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, he actually took a picture of it, and here it is." And I was looking at it, and I go, fire him. I was like, that was a print. I'm like, that would have been great to have had.
Yeah,
but
that's usually how
nah, I
how it
mean,
goes. Skeptic becomes a believer in time. So
yeah, yeah. And when I had my second sighting, he was with me, so he saw it too.
wow,
Um, yeah. So okay, so we did that video for Joe's channel, and within a month, it had 10,000 views, and I think now it's got like I don't know 13,000 somewhere around there.
wow, that's amazing.
But it was like, yeah, and I mean, it was crazy because like I was thinking we'd be lucky to get 500. I mean, this was about a roadside sighting. It wasn't like an Arnold Schwarzenegger action style movie, like Bigfoot's chasing me and I had a big standoff with nothing but a stick or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, like some stories you hear. It's like, you know, I just saw it and I was like, whoa, and then found some evidence to back up what I saw. And so, you know, he was like, you know what? He goes, we're going to do a full-fledged DVD on, or not DVD, full-fledged documentary on this. And he was like, you know, he's like, I think that it's going to go over really well. He's like, we're going to get all the like extra good, extra better, whatever you want to call it, camera equipment, because we're trying to get it on Amazon, and I believe it is going to be on Amazon.
That's awesome, man.
Um, yeah. Um, but and like he has like drone and parabolic dish, IR, and like his regular camera.
Yeah, that's all it takes, you know, a good little
Sorry,
setup and
throat
you're
got
good
dry.
to do. Yeah, you gotta keep
Yeah,
I gotta drink a lot of fluids too. I have my tea and my water here, so but yeah, you
right.
know,
Yeah, I've got my Gatorade and my water.
go ahead and tell people about the documentary, when it's gonna come out and what
Oh,
you
okay.
plan on doing with it. So
Yeah. Okay, so I actually have DVD copies right now.
oh right on. Okay.
And yeah, and if anybody wants to buy one, you know, just message me on Facebook. They're $20 a piece, but that includes shipping. And I do keep it to shipping in the continental U.S. Um, you know, maybe in the future I can look into like overseas, but first I got to have somebody from overseas want one.
Mhm.
And but it is streaming on this streaming service called Relay. Now
Okay.
I've never heard of them, but it's on that. I think that's a partner company with the distributor, and he said within 2 to 3 weeks, it'll be on Tubi and some other streaming services, and then Amazon. We're looking at about a month from it being on Prime.
Okay.
So fingers crossed on that one.
That's where I'll
But
head
it
and
met
watch
all
it.
their criteria. Do what?
I'll still definitely go on the Prime and watch it when I see it on there, you know, and
Yeah,
who knows, maybe I'll
yeah.
just message you and order one of those from you. So
Hey, that's fine too, man.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, it's cool because we put a lot of work into that, and
Well,
we
it
had
takes a lot of
see,
work to do a documentary. I totally agree. I thought about
yeah,
doing one myself
yeah.
because I'm in the right area to do it, but I got to have a good group
You are
to do it, you know. And I got a
right.
couple buddies, you know, podcasters. I even told Rye, you know Rye. I told, come over here, man. Come
Yeah,
on up here.
yeah. I was on
I'm a
his
lot
show.
closer to you now.
Right? Yeah,
So,
really.
but yeah, I reached out to
Definitely. Yeah, that'd
him,
be awesome.
Matt. Matt might want to come down, so because I told him about what was going on
Heck
out
yeah.
here about these crawlers, and they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, you know. So
Hmm.
and Bigfoot sightings
Yeah.
too.
It's
So
yeah. It's a lot of activity down there of various things.
yeah, I'll have to send you a little video I caught one night when I was out hanging out with my dogs. It sounded like owls, but it was big. It sounded big, and it would sound like an
Hmm.
owl, but
I've
it
got the
sounded
same
unusual.
stuff.
It sounded unusual.
Yeah.
So I was like, that
Sound like
sounds
a 800
large.
pound owl.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'll have to show it
Yeah.
to you. You know, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, see, like that was part of the thing. Like this started off as being just a Bigfoot documentary.
mm-hmm.
We had no idea what it was going to turn into. And they came out probably 7 or 8 times, I'd say. And over the course of like summer and fall of 2025. And we caught everything from vocalizations, you know, tree knocks, mimicry of owls, mimicry of, well, I think it was Bigfoot. It could be the other thing that I'll get into in a second that Dad saw.
Mm-hmm.
But there was coyotes going off, and then there was something howling over the coyotes that was deeper, bigger, and meaner sounding. Um, and we were doing one night. We were out there, and like I beat them there. They were coming from a campsite that was about, I don't know, close to an hour away. We were supposed to meet at like 7, and they didn't get there until after 8 o'clock because they had like all kinds of like electronic issues. Like their GPS kept pushing them out like to the furthest route instead of the quickest route, and we had a lot of like batteries going dead that were fully charged within minutes. But like while I was waiting on them to get there that night, I'm just sitting in my car. I got the windows down. I'm like, I'm just going to listen, see if I hear any whoops or anything like that. And what I actually heard was one of two things. Either there was one or two Bigfoot that took off running through the field, or not the field, through the woods that were on the other side of the field across from my dad's house. And that's only like 40 yards from where I was sitting. And it was just like you hear on like people on podcasts talk about that have had this happen. Quiet, all of a sudden it sounds like there's a herd of buffalo going through the woods. And I mean, it was just like there was trees, it sounded like trees getting knocked over, like small trees getting knocked over, branches breaking, all that. And it was either, so it was either Bigfoot doing it, or on a windless night, the tops of two trees decided to fall out and hit every single branch on the way down. And
That's pretty
that wasn't the
unusual, huh?
case.
So
Yeah. And whenever they got there, I told them, like, hey, I've already got activity. And they're like, well, let's get going. And we got out there to that field, and the field is shaped like a capital L. So, like, the woods would be like the 45-degree angle right here. This was woods. And then, like, here is field. And so, like, I'm parked, like, right here. Well, over here is there. We got over there, and there was like 8 deer just spread out in that field, but they were all watching the woods. They were not even worried about us being there. We got within like probably 15, 20 feet of one, and it didn't even look at us. It was fixated on the woods. So, you know,
mhm.
thinking about that, thinking about what I heard, I'm like, I think that they were hunting or something like that and just missed them. And because I never did hear anything scream like it got caught. Uh, so that was pretty wild. And that night Joe calls them disembodied voices. I call it mimicry, but
Mhm.
it sounded like something trying to sound human. And it it sounded like somebody, like a person being like, ooh, like trying to sound like an owl, but like a person trying to sound like an owl.
Mhm.
But it wasn't a person because, dad was at his house and it was just us out there. And like I picked it up on the parabolic and they heard it with their own ears. And then shortly after that, you hear something and like we couldn't get any visual of it. We just could hear it. But something did a belly laugh. Like a big just like laugh like that.
Wow.
And like, you hear that, yeah, you hear that come from the woods, you're like, you know what I mean?
You're
Like,
like,
what in the
what
world?
the f is that?
Yeah.
So
And so it's like, okay. And then not long after that, like maybe a couple minutes, I heard a pretty solid but pretty distant sounding tree knock. And I told him, like, hey, I got a knock. I was like, it doesn't sound close, so it sounds like it may have came from like, straight diagonal of where we were, like on the other side of the road in those woods. And they're like, okay, that's interesting. But they were kind of getting frustrated because the batteries kept dying. So we went back to regroup. And I'm trying to think. I don't think we got anything else that night. But the day I had my second sighting was it September? I think it was September 2025. Um, and we were doing like some investigating during the day,
mhm.
and then my wife, that we were going to do a fireside interview with my wife, because my grandmother, back whenever Amber was pregnant with our youngest, grandma used to come over here and sit with her while I was at work, and she would just kind of help out with my other kids and all that stuff. And she would tell Amber stories about the farm, weird stuff, the honey bear story, her seeing what we would call orbs, but she called them spook lights. And then just other like ghosts and stuff like that, which I've seen ghosts out there. Um, but
Me too.
yeah,
I've
so
seen some weird stuff
Joe,
too.
yeah, and that stuff sticks with you once you've seen it. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
You don't forget it either. Yeah.
so no, no, and so Joe wanted to do that. So Dad already had the fire going. We were just getting set up and everything. So like I'm sitting here and I had the boom mic, and just trying to get his camera sighted in right, because you've got the fire, and then you've got like the shop lights that Jason was kind of getting in position. And we ended up having to reshoot her scene because just because of that. Like it would not, the camera just would not stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
But while all that's going on, Amber's sitting there in the chair, and all of a sudden she goes, "Okay, who threw the stick?" And we're like, "What stick? What are you talking about?" And like we're all like looking around at each other, like, "Did you throw a stick?" Like nobody threw a stick. And she's freaked out. Then she was like, "Are you kidding me? Nobody threw a stick. The stick just came and hit me in my leg right here." And it wasn't a big stick or nothing like that. Once again, it was kind of about the size around of my pinky. Um, Pretty wild. She did her interview. She was freaked out. Like on the video on Joe's members section of his channel, it's like a Red Room Monsters and Lore, or Monsters and Legends. I get it wrong every time. He's gonna
Mm.
kill me. But I told him he
I
needed
do
to
it
change it
too.
to Joe's channel. But um, on that video of her, he caught the stick without even trying. He didn't know it until he was doing the editing and stuff and looking at it, but you actually see that stick come in from an angle downward, hit her in the leg.
Wow.
And what freaks me out is that thing had to have been right by me, because I was standing closest to her. To my left would have been her right, and this thing, this stick, it came in like either something threw it from a distance and it just came in and landed like that. Possibly something was in a tree because we were surrounded by trees, and like it just threw it down. But either way, it did that. And I don't think it was an adult squatch. I believe it was a juvenile, just because to me that seemed more like a juvenile behavior, more so than a full fledged like adult one. But anyways, it freaked her out. We reshot her scene and all that. She did great. But so the next time they were there was when I had, or no, I'm sorry, it was that same day. It was earlier that day. I started talking about her thing because I was thinking about it. Um, so that day when we were getting ready to go to set up and everything for hers, because we were doing it, it was just about dusk. And I'm sitting in the back of Jason's truck with Russ, the cameraman, and Joe and Jason are in the truck. So they pull out onto the road, they backed out onto the road, and as they, turn and everything to get straight on the road, I'm facing downhill, facing towards the creek over there by where the field is where I had my first sighting. Standing in the middle of the road, me and Russ see this. What he at first he goes, "Hey, is that a person down there?" And I'm like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, that's too tall to be a person. Solid black figure, tall, slender built, identical to what I had seen the year previously. And that field was to its right, my left facing it. But we were a quarter mile up on a hill. I still couldn't see the face. That's why I'm just like, I want to see it again and I want to be closer to it so I can see the freaking face.
Mm-hmm.
But it was standing there, and I mean it was in like, like its full glory, you know what I mean? But like I didn't feel like it was intimidated, or like, well, no, it wasn't intimidated. I didn't feel intimidated by it because it kind of started to lean a little bit to its left, like it was curious. Like I'm assuming that it was trying to figure out which direction we were going. Like, were we going to be coming down towards it where it needed to get out of there, or were we going away from it? And the whole time this is happening, Russ is seeing it, I'm seeing it, we're talking. Never once did I think to like slam the truck or anything like that and say, "Hey, stop, it's right there," because he's seeing it. And for me, that's good enough, because I'm like, okay, I got a witness. This is great. I got a witness. And and like people, like whenever I saw it the first time in 2024, I've had people like, because I read comments, I know I shouldn't do that, but
Yeah,
people be
it's a
like,
hard
"Oh
thing
yeah, but
not to do,
you
huh?
didn't stop and yeah, like you didn't stop and take a video of it. I don't believe you. You're lying." It's like, dude, I had my grandpa and my kid in the car. No, I wasn't stopping.
Yeah, that's one thing
And
you'll
in that
learn
moment,
when you're telling your experience in your encounter or your podcaster, whatever. You're gonna face a
mhm,
lot of nasty comments from people,
oh
and
yeah,
they can be pretty harsh. But it's okay if you're debating about something, but not
yeah,
being really putting people down and calling them liars. You weren't
yeah,
there. You can't be calling people
yeah,
liars when you weren't even there, and And that's one thing that frustrates me too with these comments. So I try not to read them either.
Yeah, yeah, I've kind
So
of quit doing that, but at
yeah,
the beginning of it, I was all like, "Oh, I wonder what people thought of it."
yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
try to
Well, this
avoid
person
the
liked it. That's
negative
good.
ones and look for the positive ones. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I like his comment.
I even had a person say that there's no way I wore a size 13, and I was like, I want to know this guy's like email so I can send him a picture of my shoe.
Yeah, so here's a foot right upside your head.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
size
Oh yeah.
13, buddy.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I
And
hear you there.
yeah, man, and it was weird because like, like there it was. So I'm like, okay, of course they were, Joe and Jason, they were kind of sore at me because I didn't tell them right away. But it was also like I said, I had the witness, so I was okay with it because he was one of their buddies and he could tell them everything that I saw, he saw too. And so that was it for that day. And then another time they were out, and this is where like the high strangeness to the video or to the documentary comes because I call it the Pond Creek Monster because like I was trying to come up with a name for it. I didn't just want to say Bigfoot. So I was like, Murfreesboro had the Big Muddy Monster, and that was for their river. And I mean, it's a river, but it's more like just a big creek.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've got Pond Creek
That
Monster.
works.
There we
That
go.
works.
There we go.
And it
And
fits
I
what
was like,
you
it
got
sounds good.
going on, especially with all that
Yeah,
history. So it really
yeah.
fits in it. So
Oh yeah. And so the documentary is called, for anybody who's interested, it's called The Pond Creek Monster, and then like, subtitled Bigfoot and High Strangeness because of everything else. The thing that my dad saw, whenever I described to him and everything, about it, he was like, "Yeah, I saw something kind of like that, but different." And I was like, "Okay, what?" He said, "Okay." He goes, "Well, this walked by my living room window." Um, he said it was black, slender build, like you said. He goes, but he goes, it didn't have the conical shaped head or anything. He goes, this kind of looked like that Egyptian dog guy. So I go, Dad, that's not Bigfoot, that's Dogman. And he's like,
yeah,
I know. He goes, I know. And he had told me that his dogs, every so often, he's got like a great big Saint Bernard, and then he's got this smaller, like mixed black dog. And like, middle of the night, usually he'll have to get up and let him out. Well, there for a while, the black one was like barking like, hey, something's out there, let me out after it. And he'd let the dogs out and they'd go out there, and it always went right around the house, right where he saw it walk by in broad daylight, walk by, which my sightings, I forgot to say that my sightings were both in the daytime. The first one was at 3:15 in the afternoon, I remember, because I looked at my clock immediately. And then, like I said, the other one was about dusk. But yeah, so that's there. um
yeah.
and
The whole
then
dog man. I definitely think they're connected to the Bigfoot. I think there's something going on between those two.
it seems like where there's
So,
one, the other's around too.
mm-hmm. And I don't know if Bigfoot's
And
trying to keep the dogmans away from us, or they're just in a pack together, or they have a battle going on. I don't know. If you think back on these Egyptians,
yeah.
and you look at these dogman figures, what's that
Hmm.
telling us? There's a lot of
Yeah,
weird stuff if you dig deep down the rabbit hole. So,
yeah,
and
big
I'm
time.
fascinated about the dogman for sure because I've been digging
Me
into it
too.
more and more and finding out more about one of the best ones I heard was Matt Imch. I'm sure you heard of him.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, I was
Yeah,
on his show. His show was the second podcast I did about this.
Planet
Yeah, he's
412.
a good
Yep.
guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. He was one of
Or
my
I'm sorry,
first.
not Matt Inch. I wasn't on him. I was thinking of Matt Knapp. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my bad. We'll have to edit that.
No, don't worry about it. You definitely should hit him up. You come on his show. He'll love to have you on.
Yeah, I'd love
So
to. I'd love to. I like his show. And
yeah.
man, his dog man story, golly, being in that
Yep.
that abandoned building with his friends.
Mm-hmm.
I heard him on the confessionals talking about that,
Yeah, he was actually
and I
on
was
my
blown
show
away.
before the confessionals. He came on. If you
Oh,
go
really?
back and look, you'll find him on there. It's only audio, but I've had him
Yeah.
on like 2 or 3 times. But yeah, I
Oh,
was
cool.
like, man, you need to get that out more, and he did. He reached out to the confessionals and went on there, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, he's on there now because I like Tony Merkel's show. He had a good
Yeah.
format
Yeah. Me
going.
too.
For a little while there,
Yeah,
he kind of
definitely.
changed a little bit. I was kind of like, I don't know, but then he caught me right back in.
Yeah,
So,
right.
but
Yeah, I tried to get on Sasquatch Chronicles about this, but
no.
because I was on Bigfoot Society, he West didn't want to have me on that one because he said they shared a lot of the same listeners. I was like, damn.
Oh, he should just
But
bring you
heck,
on.
it is what
Wes
it
is one of
is.
my favorites too for a Bigfoot show. I
Yeah,
mean, he definitely
that
caught
was the
my
first
interest.
Bigfoot show I listened to was Wes's show, just because I just typed in like Bigfoot
Hmm.
uh, podcast, and that was the first one that popped up, and I was like, oh, he's got a bunch of episodes,
Yeah,
so I started
I
listening
like
to
the way
that.
he does his show. I mean, I do a similar thing. I like to
Yeah.
let the audience, or I like to let the guests tell their experience
Hmm.
and not interrupt them so much. 'Cause I see a lot of
Right.
podcasters do that. They'll interrupt them and they take them off the rhythm that they're going with their story, and it
Right.
really screws them up a little bit. I think I can see it. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let my guests speak, and I'll ask questions here and there when the right time is, right moment. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's how I like to do it. I mean, you can always stop me if you need to or anything like
Oh
that,
no,
but
no.
it don't bother me.
So
Um, the only other couple things I can think of right now. Um, so one night we were out there, and I can't remember which night it was. 'Cause like I said, we were out there a bunch last year. I mean, I'm out there all the time, anyways, because it's my farm, my family farm, and no one can kick me off my research area.
yeah,
But
that's your area. So
exactly. So, but one night we were out there, and this is where the higher, even more higher strangeness happened. So we're sitting there, and Jason has this like green, like super laser pointer thing that you like shine up in the sky, and like I think the CE5 people use it for like calling in UFOs or something like that.
I heard about that one. Yes,
I'll be damned if he didn't do that. So he did that. A couple minutes go by, and all of a sudden we start seeing red orbs in the sky.
that's weird.
And it was weird because it was like they were in the sky, and like you would see it like here, and it would like go over here and then like blink out. But then in a little bit, there it was again over to this side. It'd come over here, blink out. It's like, what in the world? Like, we're looking at this on the documentary because I've watched it. It's really good. I'm not just saying that because I'm in it.
Hmm.
Um, but like, you can kind of faintly see one time the orb, the red, like a red orb in the sky. But Jason was also filming it with the IR, and the IR caught the whole thing. Now, he couldn't tell exactly how big this thing was. But whenever he got home and Joe got home and Joe was going through all the footage on his big monitor and everything,
Hmm.
he saw what it really was. It wasn't just random orbs popping up in the sky, random, like craft or whatever. It was one gigantic pyramid shaped UFO. And
Wow.
what we were seeing with it going like here to over here was because it was turning
Wow.
like that. And it's on the documentary. It is in it. Like, and
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out, man.
I just
Because
got chills even thinking about it. And when I saw it, and actually, because I remember Joe telling me that, he's like, I have it in there, but I had to wait up until like a month ago to see it, dude. Like,
well,
I
I think we're gonna be seeing more about these UFOs, aliens, whatever they are. I think we're
yeah,
gonna be hearing more about it from our own government because I think they're getting ready to tell us
hmm
more. I mean, they're already admitting there's some
yeah,
things going on, but what are they?
yeah,
They haven't really told us what they are. Are they the fallen
exactly.
angels? Are they some kind of demons? Are they some kind of different race? We don't know. But
Yeah, we don't.
it's an interesting one because I've seen a lot of UFOs up there in Oregon, and you're talking about the laser. I used a
Hmm.
blue one. I was doing the same
Yeah,
thing, kind of testing it, just I want to see if something happens. I'm out there and up on
yeah.
Mount Hood.
Just don't hit a plane with it. You'll get in big
Yeah,
trouble.
yeah, I know. I was just playing with the trees, and I go one spot up,
Yeah.
it's clear, and then I looked up, and I'm like, wait a minute, and all of a sudden I see these weird orbs flying all around in different directions, and I didn't know what the heck
Hmm.
to make of it. I just kind of went, what the hell? Are those drones? What
Yeah.
is that? So,
Yeah. See, that's what I was
so,
thinking because they were not. I mean, they were high up there, sure, but
oh yeah.
they were like like I mean, they weren't that high up there. And I am really surprised that because Scott Air Force Base is less than 2 hour drive from where I'm at. And I'm surprised nothing was like scrambled to come intercept or anything like that,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and it was a clear night. Uh, it, it that scared me more than anything that I've experienced out there. And I mean, and I've seen UFOs out there all my life, but it's usually just like way up in the sky, and you'll see like a white ball of light going this way, and then it's going to go this way now,
Mm-hmm.
or just you'll see something and it just kind of like off into space it goes. Um, Never a pyramid, and I mean that was just crazy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
Um,
orbs myself. I've caught in some on thermal, and I couldn't even see it without the thermal. I'm like, there's nothing there, and I go look at the thermal, and I go, it's right there, and it's moving. So I got that on
yeah,
my thermal, and I haven't really shared that yet because I'm not sure what to make of it. Because it's not very
right.
big, but it's weird. And I was
Mhm.
like, and I got that
Yeah.
here in
Hey, it's
Texas.
all
So
data, bro. It's all data.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. I've been doing a little bit of my
That's the way
own
I
here
look
in
at it
Texas,
anymore.
and I'm gonna go
Yep.
out, check out some areas. I went on by myself actually on the big thicket for a little bit. I had an eerie feeling like I shouldn't be out there alone. So next time I'll have to make sure
Yeah, probably
somebody's
not the
with me.
best idea, but I do the same thing. I don't
Yeah,
even take any weapons with me. See,
yeah,
I,
I
I did
can
a
there.
Native American
So
thing. Yeah, I did a Native American thing where I went out to the farm, I went out in the field where I had my sighting, and I announced myself, told them I come in peace, welcomed them to the farm, and just said, like, hey, I'm perfectly fine with you guys being here as long as you respect our property.
hmm
I was like, don't damage nothing, don't attack us, no problem. You guys can make your home here. So far, so good.
yeah,
Um, I'm not sold on gifting. I don't think I want to, but at the same time, I'm intrigued by it. But I don't live out there, so it's like I can't do it on like a regular schedule.
yeah. I think gifted might be
Um,
could be a dangerous thing, a dangerous method.
that's kind of
I'm
where
not
I'm at with
sure.
it.
I'm not sure what to think of it either. So,
I've heard
but
some good stories, but I've heard more bad stories than good stories
yeah,
from
I've
it.
heard stories where people were gifting and then they follow them to their home and they started harassing them
Yeah,
there, at nighttime, banging
yeah,
on it, walking around the roof. And I'm like, huh, maybe you shouldn't be gifting them then, maybe. So,
yeah,
so
exactly,
yeah, it's
exactly.
hard to say though. I mean, I've heard some people have successful gifting where they give them like a feather back and they make
Yeah,
something out of the trees, and
yeah.
cool looking things that these things are making, and they give it to people for a gift. And then
Hmm.
some people are like, I didn't make this. Look at this thing. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
interesting.
that is pretty neat. Yeah,
So
definitely. Um, I guess the only other thing I really got to talk about that I can think of off the top of my head is because of all this going on in the documentary and everything, the news about it, and all the momentum it's got. I've landed 3 speaking engagements
yeah, let's hear
at
about
these.
it.
Yeah, so there's 3 Bigfoot festival slash conference events going on here in Southern Illinois. The first one is June 20th in Murfreesboro, Illinois. It's the Big Muddy Monster Festival. And they are going to not only have me as a speaker there, but they're also going to show the documentary at the Liberty Theater there. So it's like this old time movie theater, and they're going to show it on the big screen. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That'd be an awesome
And like
experience
Chad
right there.
Lewis and Kevin Lee Nelson are going to be there speaking as well. They're both authors and friends of mine.
Okay.
Um, September 5th in Mount Vernon, Illinois, the Southern Illinois Bigfoot Conference. I'll be speaking there. Martin Groves is going to be there. The
Yeah, I need to reach
Squatchers, those
out to
guys I was
Martin
telling you
Groves
about.
and bring him on. See if he'll be willing
Yeah,
to come on
yeah, he's a
sometime.
good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I can't wait to meet him just to be able to shake his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got a
Um,
pretty intense encounter and pretty incredible to tell so I'm blown away
yeah,
by it.
I don't think I want to go to the LBL.
Yeah, I keep
Um,
hearing about LBL, and I had a couple guests today, Joe and Pat, come on the show this morning, and they talked about the LBL. They had amazing footage. You have to check out that episode when it drops because I shared it's like a
I
thermal.
definitely will.
It's pretty good. It definitely looks like a dog man, and I'll send it to you privately so you can kind of see
Nice.
what it looks like, a picture. You'd be like, whoa.
Right.
So it definitely got my
Yeah.
attention, and I was like, oh well, let's come on and share it. So it was
Hell
pretty
yeah.
intriguing.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So
And then the third one, it's in Harrisburg, Illinois. It's the Shawnee Sasquatch Fest, and I'll be speaking at that one too. They might also show the documentary. I'm not sure yet. I offered to let them, because I know that they've shown like documentaries there before.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, hey, if you guys want to, I was like, I know Big Muddy Monster Festival's doing it. I'm like, but that's in June and your guys is in October. I was like, if you guys would like to too, you can. And they said, oh, that's a good idea. But like the person that was messaging me from the page had to get in touch with the person who's actually running it. Like this person was just the booker. So, you know, if time allows, they'll probably happen, but at least I'm speaking.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
all that
like,
matters.
I've never done public speaking before, so I don't know how it's going to go. I'm
Just
like,
be
I'm just going
you,
to like
man.
picture instead of,
Just be
yeah, I
you
mean, it's
and
like,
represent your, you know, what you're experiencing, what your family had experienced, you know, and you're just telling the
yeah,
truth so that you won't have
yeah,
a problem, man. So
nah, nah.
I'd be
I
nervous though
mean,
if I was up there in front of a bunch of people. I'd
yeah,
be pretty nervous. I'd be like, I'm not ready for
yeah.
this.
I'm thinking to myself, it's like, I don't want to picture them in their underwear or anything, but I might think it's like a live stream on YouTube and I'll just picture like their YouTube names above their heads or
Yeah,
something.
that's funny.
But yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's pretty much it as far as I can think of at the moment.
Well, I really appreciate you
Like I
coming
said,
on. If you hold on a minute, man, I'll have to ask you some questions before we. I'm gonna go
oh
ahead and
yeah,
end it, but I'm gonna ask you some things off air because I'm kind of interested
yeah,
in a particular person that we both kind of know about. A little bit of drama going on in the cryptid world. So,
yeah, definitely.
but yeah, I
There's
really
always
appreciate you
trouble.
coming on, man. And you can say one more time where people could find you and what
Yeah,
documentary name and all that. Make sure to get it in their head, you know.
right. Yeah. Okay. So again, my name is Bryce Edwards. I'm on Facebook. I don't have a podcast or anything. I'm thinking about making one.
You should.
But yeah, just add me on Facebook. My profile pictures, it's me and my wife, and feel free to message me. I've been getting a bunch of friend requests lately. Sometimes they're bots, but like if I see that we have a ton of mutual friends and most of them are in the Bigfoot world, I'll just accept you.
Yep.
But if you want to send me a message to let me know that you heard me on this show, hey, that's cool because then I can let you know, hey, this person right here is a listener of yours and they added me or something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and the documentary, it is called The Pond Creek Monster, and then subtitle Bigfoot and High Strangeness. It's out on DVD. It's I've got to order. There is Blu-rays. I just Joe has the Blu-rays. I have to order Blu-rays. And then it is currently streaming on a streaming service called Relay. And here in a couple weeks, it'll be on Tubi, Prime, and a bunch of other streaming services. So just keep a lookout for it. And it's an hour long, and it's got a lot of evidence on it from what we caught. Some stuff we heard it, we experienced it for whatever reason. The audio did not pick it up.
That's
Don't
how
know
it
why,
works. It
but
always works that way.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thanks
But
again.
it's great.
Thanks again. Hold on tight.
Oh yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. And again, I apologize for the hassle of us getting this show together, but
Oh,
we
no
finally
worries.
got it, buddy.
I'll definitely like to bring you back on, do a live show or something, catch up with you on,
Oh
who
yeah,
knows.
I'd love to,
So,
man. I'd love to.
well, that's the show, guys. I really appreciate Bryce Edward coming on the show to share his experience on his family farm. Be sure to check out his documentary, The Pond Creek Monster. He told you where to go. Put it all in there, and I'll put some in the link where you can find it. Have him send some more information to me so I can do that. I really hope you enjoy the show, guys. More to come. Glad to be back. If you'd like to come on the show, email me at mountainmanett@gmail.com. You can even private message me on Facebook. Look for Blake Botel. Really enjoyed having people like him coming on, talking about their experience and sharing a little extra. So that's always cool to do too. So, like I said, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, share, thumbs up. If you're listening to it on Spotify or other platforms, be sure to hit the follow button. It sure helps me get up in the chart so I can get more great guests on here to talk and share their experience with you, my friends. It's all about the truth, right? So until next time, let's explore the truth together. Take care, my friends.